for those. And the next is public participation, and it is an absolute privilege and a pleasure to welcome members of the Bridge Hub South New Brighton, who actually I invited at the opening of the bridge to come here and make this presentation on this date. And so if you'd like to come forward and perhaps take us on your journey.
Hi. Do I press that?
No, you're all good.
She's all good. Okay, great. All right, Jess, when you're ready. If a camel was a horse designed by a committee, then our committee, the Bridge South Brighton Trust, has designed a Class 1 thoroughbred. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, Mrs Mayor, councillors, and I'd also like to acknowledge former councillors Glenn Livingston, council staff Gary Watson, who showed a lot of support and faith in those early dark days, and our community development spiritual advisor Heather Davies, who directed our meetings for a long time, and also to our funders and supporters and former trust members. Of course, Stephen Langridge, aho, I am one of the original founding trust members, and I sat over here 6 years ago when we were awarded the Capital Endowment Fund, and I'll be speaking about how we got to use the $325,000 and where we got to with it. And next I'll introduce Elisa Tregenza, our current chairperson, who will speak about the opening, the operations and the vision moving forward. So we stand on the shoulders of giants, and we acknowledge the first peoples on our land, Waitaha, Ngāti Mamoi, Ngāi Tahu, who gathered kai and te ahutai the estuary, and to the family of Buxtons and other Methodists who built a community around the church that sat at the sandy corner of Bridge Street and Estuary Road, South Brighton, 100 years ago. And after the earthquake sequence of 2010 and 11 had ripped the building apart, it sat abandoned, disused, and a pretty sad reminder of what we had lost in the South Brighton South Shore area, including the South Brighton Bakehouse, the best pies in the world, fish and chip shop, the botlow, the pharmacy, the dairy, the hairdresser, the lawnmower mechanic, the South Shore Jets Bar, the best Indian takeaway, and a few other shops. Even our school hall, where we all would attend for school functions, school fundraisers and school discos and a place to socialise, were all met the same fate with the wrecking ball. Such happy memories of meeting up and gathering together like all humans naturally love to do. 6,254 people live in South Brighton and South Shore. Where would our community gather now? Fast forward to 2016, when the New Zealand Baptists head office were looking to offload this damaged building to a local group. Community workers from Te Waka Araha, Dr Jane Harrison and Leslie Fulton were in the right place at the right time. These two courageous pioneers threw caution to the easterly and set about asking around how to purchase an earthquake-damaged building as is, where is, with no money. So they formed a trust with South Brighton neighbours and friends, and we won a smart lift competition on Facebook to re-level the broken building, which was worth $120,000, and we didn't even own the building yet. Enter the council. No other funder were really that keen to pump money into a broken building that was run by a rookie trust who didn't know what they were in for, except the Christchurch City Council. It was 2016, and there was a lot of debate around buildings we had lost and amenities that weren't being replaced. It was 5 years on from the earthquake, and the people of Christchurch were grumbling about the length of time it was taking for the rebuild to take place, and especially out east. We all know the history of the Republican views of New Brighton. From our point of view, here was an offer too good to refuse. Help us buy the building, we'll save it from destruction, and we'll fundraise to fix it ourselves. We'll produce a local amenity that will service the coastal ward. And wait for it, all for the measly sum of $325,000. What a bargain. There was some debate in the chamber that day, 6 years ago, and one dissenting voice said, well, what if it sets a precedent and other groups want to build their own community centres? And I remember the mayor staring them down and saying, well, wouldn't that be great if it did? And the rest of the council thought so too, voting unanimously to use the Capital Endowment Fund and grant us the $325,000 to buy the As Is Where Is building from the New Zealand Baptist Church. With one very large proviso: don't come back for more money. So we didn't. We kept our promise. We went to lotteries and we received $115,000, which produced the resource consent and the building consent, and replaced the asbestos roof for $60,000. From Rata, we received $225,000, which went a long way for demolition work, earthquake strengthening steel, tying the building together and building the walls for the Wellness Centre, plus other funders who supported us with smaller amounts, but realistically, we only had a third of what we needed, and by March 2020, our funds were drying up. Even with our trusty volunteer army who helped with demolition, who racked up 6,500 volunteer hours, we still needed some big bucks to get the job done. For example, we had to rewire the whole building, we had to fix all the drains, we had to replace all the toilets, we replaced all the doors and windows to double glazing, we had to insulate the roof, the walls, the underfloor, we had to put in new joinery, new heaters and air conditioning, and the list goes on. As you can see, we're in the middle of demolition here on the screen. We started to think, what the heck did we get ourselves into? We tapped out the big funders in town, we'd raised their own measly amounts, and the council had told us not to come back for more. Thankfully, but ironically, there was a global pandemic on the way. When the Labor government announced the Shovel Ready Fund, we were onto it like a seagull on a hot chip on the beach. We were one of the lucky 9 organisations dubbed as the New Brighton Collective by Minister Poto Williams, who shared in $7 million. We were finally able to turn our pig's ear into a silk purse. So now we boast a community centre with a gorgeous polished remove floor, high-tech audio-visual gear, a wellness centre with 2 consulting rooms, the hottest cafe to hit the hospitality scene called June, powered by 54 solar panels and water-conserving toilets. What we've learned along the way is that in every deal is a risk, but in every risk there is an opportunity. And we took every opportunity that presented itself, because all our focus was to provide a gathering space for our community once again. A big thank you to the Mayor and the councillors and the council staff who took a risk with us and saw the opportunity like we did. We did it. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce the Chair of the Bridge South Brighton Trust, Lisa Tregenza.
Thanks, Dave. It's just always so wonderful to hear that story. Kia ora, I'm Lisa Tregenza, Chair of the Board of Trustees. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be of service to the community in this role, assisting to bring this vision to a reality. So, yeah, thank you for explaining the journey. The journey has been huge, and now what we see, and I think we'll come to the slides at the end, is a state-of-the-art building. And this has been made possible through the hard work of passionate, committed Board of Trustees, with the wonderful support of the locals, the tradespeople and the funders. The tenacity and resilience and attributes that we see in this area, and this drive has carried the project from a vision to a reality. It is very much about the community. It is the community that have come together, that have taken this beautiful nugget and created what we see today. So we're absolutely thrilled to see this building come to life as a central point for the community to gather, to connect, to share, to learn, to grow and to feel welcome, something that every community needs. We're excited to now be bringing the most important element to this project, and that is the community. And that's what we're seeing. We are seeing this now with the space being filled with people. We have a wonderful events coordinator and facility manager who is bringing together a diverse event experience. As a community, as a city, a nation, we've experienced some really challenging times. And to have the space together, so the community hall is really focused on bringing people together where relationships are formed. It's currently being utilised for yoga, tai chi, pop pilates, sports practices and arts and crafts. It's already hosted successful community events, the Community Open Day, where we brought together the practitioners showcasing their talents, amazing Matariki celebrations. There's been a pie and pint night that has a bit of a legacy, I hear, from previous years. And we have upcoming movie nights and concerts, so plenty of activities coming up. Another part of this is very much to be able to offer affordable and accessible activities and workshops for all ages and stages. And that is a big part of our vision moving forward. So there will be a focus on offering tools to support mental and physical health, what we see as essential to support a healthy and vibrant community. And this is something that we'll be consistently seeking funding to deliver in that area. We're thrilled that the cafe is now leased to two wonderful ladies, Ruby and Gina, who, as Steve mentioned, have named the cafe June Cafe. And they've already created an incredible buzz with the space. It's proving to draw people from all parts of Christchurch. So very much what this area needs is people coming in and bringing in their energy, their funding. It really helps to bring people into this area and to see the life that has been brought back into this space. The wellbeing rooms provide a quiet place with private rooms for health practitioners and counsellors to provide support and strengthen the local community. The gallery is a really special place on entry, and that is being utilised to showcase local artists, and we've also included school groups, so it's again quite diverse and reflective of the area. It has been a remarkable transformation of a building with a phenomenal effort driven by a dedicated team of volunteers. Whilst what we see today is a building, this project is about the people. It is the people that had the vision, it is the people that generated the funds, and it's the people that built this building. It's the people that bring this space to life. So we're incredibly grateful and thankful for you being the funders that got this project off the ground. Thank you.
I've said to councillors that when I sat on the stage and actually worked out, because I'd already said that, to come and do a sort of a wrap-up, sort of closure submission to the council so that we understood that decision made exactly 6 years ago today had resulted in a community asset that had been built with the support of council and central government, but had been delivered by the community for the community and was now being operated by the community. So it was just, to me, it's that dream come true moment, because I do recall my view when I first arrived here in council 9 years ago, that this was the dream that I wanted to have for all of our community facilities, that they were really owned by the local community. Local communities know what their communities need by way of activation. They know what the strengths of their communities are, and they know how to build on strengths rather than focusing on deficits, which is what others do. From this perspective, this community has delivered in spades, and it may have taken a global pandemic to get the final element of the funding requirements over the line, but boy, you've made a pretty special place, and you've made me extremely happy, and I got quite emotional listening to your thing. But if this is a legacy for how communities and their councils work in collaboration with each other for the future, then what a great legacy to leave. And so thank you very, very much for having the passion and the commitment and the drive, but the belief, the self-belief that communities can do these things with support. They can do these things for themselves, and it's just fantastic. So thank you very much for coming and presenting on the 6th anniversary of the original ask, and to show the council the value of the investment that they were prepared to make with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.